We just can't have nice things, can we? Well, if there is something the League of Legends community is really good at, it is not boycotts. At least not the good kind. It's being mad, complaining, and going after specific employees of specific companies. Yep, it's not the first time we went through this kind of rodeo. So, a quick recap. Outside of the infamous incidents from the people known as champion mains, who may not like a skin their favorite champion is getting and so naturally they send death threats to rioters, which already happened 4 times. At least as far as we know from the larger scale. On top of this, the League of Legends players also forced rioters to lock their social media accounts after the infamously bad cinematic dropped. Which, sure, that cinematic was absolute garbage and League was in a really bad place. And so when you are not happy about the state of League of Legends, what do? You bully all the people who have nothing to do with cinematics. And of course we can't forget the incident where people sent a lot of threats to Riot Freak, who in his free time is making videos where he's going through patch notes so that people have more context for all the changes. And of course people sent him so many threats believing that he is the sole person responsible for all of balancing in the game that he decided to walk away from social media for a while. He absolutely did the right thing, by the way. And just to make sure that the League of Legends community has absolutely not learned the right lesson, the exact same thing happened again. And it resulted in the exact same outcome. But thankfully, the one incident is not what we'll be talking about today. We'll talk about 2 incidents of people threatening rioters, both of which happened independently the same week. Now, I'll have to be honest, what's been really surprising to me is that despite the recent shortcomings when it comes to quality of skins, as well as the recent fumble with progression, somehow, while we saw quite a few memes aimed at Meddler and Pabro who were the faces of these changes, somehow people were mostly mad at Riot overall. And that is the best way you wanna be mad. Because when people are mad at a company, unless the company is full of goblins that ignore everything, the higher-ups should care about the image of their company, and so passively the feedback will get to them eventually. Again, that is if all the suits actually care. But there is still a far better way of handling things compared to focusing on a single employee you're not even sure is part of the problem. Which leads us to the incident that just popped up. It is this video that circled around, and from the thumbnail you can see some people have not learned much. The best part being, this is still just about the most average way Riot is getting harsh criticism. So I don't really want to show where the video is from for 2 reasons. First of all, I don't think it's worth just inflating the numbers, but also if you decide to go there, you will dislike it, you will comment something mean, but at the end of the day, nothing will really happen and we just created more mad people. So let's ignore that for now. The TLDR is, we have someone complaining about Stephanie Lang, who is also known as 100-piece nuggets, who is also known as the person who directly marches into mobs of angry people to get feedback on their own products. Yes, during the entire Mordekaiser incident, she was the one who went to Mordekaiser mains and made her own posts there. It wasn't just comments. She made her own posts with the Rioter tag right there on the walls of hell 3 times. And she did it to try and push the quality up. If you want to argue that someone isn't taking on accountability, I don't think that's the right person. And so we got a video that is criticizing her. Is that bad? Not necessarily. The issue is actually somewhere else. First of all, I can tell you, she is probably not the one to complain about. And that's because anytime you see anyone on camera for one of these dev videos, it is always the people right there in the front lines working their asses off to give you something good. And they are trying to do it with the tools they are given. That is the most important part. I can guarantee you that nobody wants to release a bad product. What can happen though is that you can cut off quality because you don't have the time or the resources. And that is not something the employees have in control. But regardless, if you ignore that part, what is said in the video is not actually anything horrible. They are just talking about how someone should take accountability for the skins, and how Stephanie should be the one to do that. They are not threatening anyone, they are not sending people after anyone, but they are not preventing that from happening either. And that's the big issue here. Putting a target on someone and then saying, hey, please don't hit them, doesn't really work, does it? Especially on the internet with the shield of anonymity. In fact, anytime there is a video where someone is complaining about someone else and they say, "Hey people, don't harass them," it is already too late. It happened on YouTube many times. But it's a lot different when we're talking about a YouTube drama between two YouTubers and indirectly sending mobs of angry people at employees of a company. Especially when those employees are literally just doing their job. Like, if she loses her job, she's gonna go out there and find a new one. Because she's a human being. Nothing more, nothing less. And so when we get a video where there is a specific writer on the thumbnail, where the entire video is about talking about their job, where in the description of the video you link not your own social media, but theirs, so that people now have a direct link for the hatred, that is not a smart way of handling it. What also doesn't look good is when every day of a week you tweet at them demanding answers. And you say things like, "Writing to inform you that in a couple of days I will be releasing a journalistic piece on you and your role at Riot." Yeah, that doesn't read like threatening at all. So yeah, long story short, don't do this. We learned this the bad way when people criticized the entire Ruination event, where literally every creator who talked about how bad the event was only criticized Riot as a company mishandling it, which is the right way to do this. You could also say this about other situations, such as introducing the gacha systems, but the moment you cross the line and you bring out individuals, that is when you're making a stupid mistake that is endangering people, accountability or not. And so, we're done talking about the first incident that happened. Yep, don't worry, there is still more. And unfortunately, this time, it happened in TFT. By now, pretty much everyone knows what getting more dogged means, right? I mean, it is becoming a term in the Urban Dictionary, and it came out of the fact that anytime you want to talk about the head of TFT, of course, Mordog comes up first. And that is for a very simple reason. Mordog has been around TFT from the very beginning. He was part of the original game modes team before he was put onto TFT to make it a full game. Well, in fact, he did start TFT itself. He was always there to deliver news of new content. He actively became a member of TFT's streamer community, and he was never afraid of directly answering even the spiciest of questions. And so, overall, Mordog might be the best at the entirety of Riot Games when it comes to communicating with the communities of their games. I can tell you right now that neither League nor Valorant have anyone in their teams that would be this close to their communities. Now, the issue is that you're communicating with the communities, which is not always nice. And so, a few days ago, Riot posted the new patch notes, as he always does, which, just like Freak, he covers in his free time for fun, after which he also posted an extra video, where he talked about the decision-making and balancing of games. Long story short, balancing is hard. I mean, he didn't say this in his video, but I can tell you, if you think you can mathematically calculate the perfect balancing for any given game, you'd be so wrong. Balancing might be the hardest part of any multiplayer game. Making new environments and skins is a breeze compared to making sense of analytics. But of course, the community that plays those games doesn't care, and they don't wanna care. Which means that when the players play a game they think is not balanced, they call Riot Games a trash company. And so, at the end of Mordog's video, he said this.
The last few weeks, months have been really rough in the spotlight as the sort of target for a lot of the frustrations around TFT. All you have to do is click on any one of my Twitter posts recently and read the replies. I've been getting it a lot lately, to a point where I'm pretty burned out. At this point, I don't know how else to phrase it other than the haters win. They got to me, which sucks to admit after 6 years. But I'm gonna take a break because I can't take much more of it.
I'll be absolutely honest, what Mordog is doing here is the best thing he can do. Take it from me, someone who's been making videos for 16 years. I wish I was making it up. One day I'll talk about my own way of handling this kind of feedback from the community, but in short, I can tell you my own wisdom which I've learned myself. It takes great strength to take on these kinds of comments, but it takes even more strength to not read the comments at all. And unfortunately, so many creators would be so much happier in their lives if they've done that. In the case of Mordog, he's absolutely fighting an uphill battle. Being the face of the game and the communication and the bug reports and possibly the cosmetics, as well as being a meme for the entire game, it all inherently has one big issue. People will complain about everything to you. It doesn't matter if they complain about game mechanics or cosmetics or monetization. Anytime anything bad would happen around TFT, Mordog would be the one to take all the hate. Which, in a way, functioned as a shield for the entire rest of TFT's team. But it would be too much to bear for a single person. And so, that's where we landed. Have Riot's communities learned anything? Well, it seems like not really. It's just another day where the community gets frustrated and they forget that the devs behind the game are real people. I mean, sure, if you're a game developer, there is a really high chance eventually you will face some spicy feedback. Which is why I'm dreading the day I'll release my game.